currently we have over 200 volunteers working across these initiatives and honing their skill sets. What I would like to brief you is EuroSTEMPeers also started as one of the initiatives within the STEMPeers community. But what we have done is we have designed it to cater to the needs of the European STEM scholars. What we have done over the last few years have organized various STEM career networking events. The first event, in fact, was organized in SciTech, which is the Central European Institute of Technology in Czech Republic in Brno. And the entire institute was very supportive of this fresh idea that we brought along. We then continued this networking event and brought it over to Berlin, which was organized here last year at Charity, again with the support of a lot of different organizations coming together. And the idea was to carry it forward year after year in different cities. So this year, it was planned to be in Heidelberg, and actually this happened. Because of COVID, we were not able to do it in Heidelberg, but this did not deter our determination to still host this meeting. And here we are virtually sitting across the globe with over 350 registered participants from US to Europe to Asia, with the enthusiasm of all the audience members and the organizing members. We have put together today's meeting where I'll briefly walk you through today's agenda, where the sessions have been divided into two different sessions. One of them is Surviving Entrepreneurship, which is being chaired by Dr. Juvin Shah. And the second session is STEM Careers and Skill Sets, which is being chaired by Dr. Markus Dettenhofer. And there will be closed group discussion after each of these sessions for selected participants, and they have already been informed via the emails with specific details. I will not take a lot of time into this and rather move you on to the first session, which is Surviving Entrepreneurship. And it's a great pleasure to introduce a friend of mine, Dr. Juvin Shah, who is also a GINSEP ambassador and a startup mentor. He describes himself as a science and healthcare enthusiast who has a PhD from Heidelberg University. He's done his postdoc from a startup which is called Biomedics Innovation Center, and then was heading a conference called as Expomed Medicinale, where he brought in different startups together to come and pitch their ideas. Without further delay, I'll pass on to Dr. Juvin Shah to chair the first session of our event, which is Surviving Entrepreneurship. Maybe there are some technical details, and then our host, the technical person, Ramji, will switch on the mic for Dr. Juvin Shah.
Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot, Mayur. And thanks, Taraka, for unmuting me. A warm welcome from my side too to all of you. I hope all of you are keeping well in the current time. And I also wish that even in the future, you take care of yourself. I think it's a very interesting time what we are talking today. And especially even though with all the challenges, we are able to put this small conference together is something really wonderful. As Mayur already mentioned, he gave a kind introduction of myself. So I would just add one more line to that. So probably at a step or in the current phase of my life where I'm at the cusp of change and exploring my next step, which also is very interesting for me. And I'm looking what comes next. Talking about today's session, as it states, Surviving Entrepreneurship, I think entrepreneurship is itself quite challenging. I'm not an entrepreneur myself, but I have friends who are entrepreneurs. I come from a family who's entrepreneur. So I understand what are the challenges which comes as a part of it. And I also feel that many of us like to get into entrepreneurship, but we really don't know where to start, why to start, what to start with. So this is something which I think today's speakers can definitely answer some of those questions. And without focusing on my background or my, let's say, on myself, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Dr. Jagdish Khanna. So he's also a friend. He works as an accelerator program manager at EIT Health, and he's currently based out of Munich in Germany. Originally, he's from India, and he obtained his PhD from University of Heidelberg. A very personal point. So actually, I learned the calculations for QRT-PCR from Jagdish. So this is how how it goes back in history. He has been involved in a lot of mentoring and coaching network through his current engagement at EIT Health. And he's also initiated some of his own organizations like Indian Empowerment Network, IEN, and so on. And with that, I would like to invite Jagdish for his talk. Just to give a quick update, so every talk would be for 8 minutes, and then following to that, we'll have a 30 minutes of panel discussion. So with that, Jagdish, I would be happy to have you on screen.
Me. Cool. Tarak, did you unmute? Okay, wonderful. Hello, everyone. I feel a bit nervous, but it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to start this session, especially entrepreneurship. I mean, I think this is one thing that we need to talk at this moment, because most of them might have lost their jobs, and also most of them may not even get jobs. So I think it's a right time to be entrepreneurs. And so I will give some updates about EIT Health, and also some updates about personal mission that what I am driving. So let's jump into the talk. Oops. Cool. So Zubin already introduced about me. So I'm from India. I'm born in a small village called Pedamalkapuram. I mean, it's so insane that how things turned out. And I work as an accelerator program manager in EIT Health. So I work only with the startups. I did my PhD from Heidelberg, and I did my MSc from University of Hyderabad in India. So before talking about EIT Health, I would like to give a little glimpse. I mean, Bodo is also there, so he might be knowing quite well. Like, what is EIT? EIT is a concept which was basically copied from US, MIT. Even the name itself was copied. They just replaced M with M with E. So they just want to bring, I mean, European Union went to US, and then they thought like MIT is fully surrounded by a lot of ecosystems like venture capitalists, researchers, whatnot, industries, and everything. So they just want to recreate the same system in Europe. That's why they started this EIT in 2008 with European Union budget in something called Horizon 2020. So they realized that they can't tackle innovation as a single game. So that's why they first started with Climate Kick. Kick is knowledge and innovation communities. So a branch in a simple terms. So from 2008 and now we are in 2020. So there are 8 kicks. So it started with Climate Kick, and now we last year we launched something called EIT Manufacturing and EIT Urban Mobility. There are, I mean, why this slide is so interesting for everyone is that, so whoever you are, at what stage of life you are, I would highly recommend you to go and look into each page. Even though you are in healthcare, I would recommend you to look into EIT Food or EIT Digital, EIT Raw Materials, because it's a one-stop shop. There are so many things, and healthcare addresses materials addresses healthcare. So I would recommend you to look into every page. I mean, they have dedicated websites. Please have a look into them. And so now I will slowly jump into EIT Health. So now I'm coming to healthcare. So why EIT Health started? So there are a lot of challenges. I mean, especially in Europe or even in the world, the aging population is increasing day by day. and the burden of chronic diseases is increasing, and there is a lot of fragmentation within EIT Health, within the Europe, and the healthcare systems are not united. And even many of the future workforce is not properly trained on healthcare systems. And also there is a lot of stagnation in investments, because only if you look at the investment landscape, there are only few countries which are very good in the investments. Not all the countries are not good. And when you look at the opportunities, there is a lot of innovation happening. There is, look at the digitalization, look at AI, machine learning. So there are a lot of buzzwords. There's so much of innovation happening. And also the care is getting integrated, especially with the hospitals, insurances and everything. And there are like electronic medical records and everything. So the patient self-management is also increasing. So that's why there is a demand. So based on that, there is a demand for thought leaders. There's a demand for entrepreneurship. There's demand for efficient ways how to utilize this innovation. Just a second, yeah. So, the main idea is to prepare the future workforce, how by the education and training. So that's where EIT Health comes in. So EIT Health, in definition, it's a network of best-in-class health innovators backed up by you. So when I say best-in-class health innovators, it's like most of the universities in Europe, most of the institutes, most of the private companies, public bodies. So I'll show you, we have around 140 partners. It's spread all across Europe. Munich is headquarters, so I'm located in headquarters, but we have offices all across Europe. So there are 6 co-location centers, which are in green. And there is another one called as EuroSTEMPeers. EuroSTEMPeers has around 7 countries, 7 to 14 countries. And whatever the new countries we want to add, we are adding in the EuroSTEMPeers, and slowly they become their own independent co-location center. So how we do that? So what exactly entrepreneurship means? So how we do that is that we provide access to knowledge, we provide access to stakeholders, we provide access to market, and we provide access to finance. And this is also one of the important slides that you need to remember and also have a look afterwards. So EIT Health, it's like a giant umbrella which is spread all across Europe. But within EIT Health, we have something called as pillars. We have 3 pillars. One is campus. So you see campus. Campus is all about education. So they train on entrepreneurship. They have their own masters, labeled programs, bachelors. They have summer schools. So especially for the young entrepreneurs who want to enter into the startup life, I would recommend you to look into campus courses. And the second one is Accelerator. That's where I work in. Accelerator is all about startups. So we supported around 800 startups now. And that's where there are a lot of journey, and I will show more about Accelerator today. And the third one is innovation. Innovation is all about big projects. So whenever you think of something tackling diabetes in Europe, so innovation will tackle that. So we work with the industry partners and university partners, so they will run this innovation project. Even the startups can also apply now. So as I said, we have around 140 partners. You might be knowing companies like AstraZeneca, Novartis, University of Heidelberg, LMU. So all these, they come under us, our partners. So we have different membership fee, they pay the fee, and then we release grants to them. Okay, now let's jump into Accelerator. That's where I jump in, and that's where I work. And when you look at our Accelerator, we have around 16 programs. And simply we have kind of made into 3 areas. One is incubate line, another one is validate line, another one is scale line. So the incubate is all about incubation. So if you have an idea, or if you just have some entrepreneurial idea, or you have a patent or something, you enter into EIT Health in Accelerator in incubate line. So we have something called boot camps. Then afterwards, if you want to validate, we have some validate programs. So we have a lot of programs. So every program has its own criteria. And if you are already in advanced stage, we have something called scale. Scale is all about finances and also scaling you to the abroad. So I will just quickly jump in because I'm giving only the hints, like only little tips about EIT Health, because it's like a very vast network and a lot of programs we have. Because of time limitations.
A quick point, maybe. So we just have 1 more minute for your slides, and then we can take up questions in the panel.
Super.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would just quickly tell you this slide. Boot camps. Boot camps are one thing that every PhD student has to look into it, and I think I will also show something which I am running. I mean, I want to focus more on this slide, but I think we are out of time. So PhDs and postdocs, this is the right time that you need to change your mindset. Put all your skill set into entrepreneurial mindset and make startups. This is the right time. And I started an organization called Dare to Start. It's all about entrepreneurs, whoever has ideas, they can come and join here. We have a hackathon, which is end of this month. So look into it, and I'm available. Like, you can write to me. I will send the link for hackathon. Join there. We are there to guide you. I mean, we have access to around 500 mentors. So we will just help you out how to take your ideas into reality. That's all. And please write to me if you have any questions.
Thanks a lot, Jagdish. For anyone else who has questions, you can also send it when we have the panel discussions. If you want to ask something specifically for Jagdish. So that is also the time when you can connect. So going to the next speaker in the line is Dr. Bodo Brückner. He's a molecular biologist by training. He's well known also to most of us in the Heidelberg or the local region. He has worked for many years at different institutes in Heidelberg. And after that, he has also worked with organizations like BioRN and also EIT Health. I think from last few years, he's been working with the Lifesciences Accelerator Baden-Wuerttemberg program in the city of Mannheim. And he also teaches in the University of Heidelberg and Biotech Entrepreneurship course, which I have also taken. And I'm sure some of you might have also taken that course. So he also trains in that course. And he approaches entrepreneurship in a very structured way. I've taken that course and I know some ideas from his course. So with that, I would like Bodo to come on screen and share his ideas of what the surviving entrepreneurship would be in these times.
Hi, Jubin. Just let me share the thing and then we start. Hopefully, yes, it should be online now. Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah. Great pleasure to meet you. It's really, well, a nice thing to be here. And I hope you do not suffer too much in these very special times. My name is Bodo Brückner. As Jubin said, I'm working as a coordinator in the Lifescience Accelerator Baden-Wuerttemberg. And it's really a great pleasure to be here at my first EuroSTEMPeers 2020 meeting. Actually, what could I do else at this very nice weather, sunny Saturday afternoon? No, joking. And so the title of this session is Surviving Entrepreneurship. And before I explain some of the benefits of an accelerator program like ours, let me first tell you something about the importance of teams. So Jubin knows this slide and Yaga as well. So this is one of my favorite slides I always show in the Life Science Accelerator. To survive entrepreneurship, you need a fantastic team. And especially these times, it's super important to have a team that well cares for each other and knows what to do and has the relevant expertise. Hopefully your team is as dynamic and as good as the team shown here. These are the All Blacks from New Zealand. It's always important, and I always show this also at the Life Science Accelerator, also at the Biotech Entrepreneurship Training Program, and our program, the Life Science Accelerator, is the no asshole rule. So please be aware. So a team where you have some pathological person won't survive. So this is just something that everyone knows. It's so important that a Stanford prof like Robert E. Sutton has written a book about it. Highly recommended. Go for it, read it. It's funny to read and it's super relevant. Then actually what we do is the Life Science Accelerator. We are partners. We are five partners in 3 cities. As you can see here, we have Heidelberg. This is shown here, Heidelberg with the Technology Park and the Heidelberg Startup Partners. Mannheim, where actually I'm working in. I'm living in Heidelberg, but I'm allowed to work at the town of Mannheim with a beautiful Muffinex Technology Center. And we have Tübingen. Tübingen with a foundation for medical innovations. All nice partners, very important stuff, and real fun to work with. We have 800 startups, but 50, which is also quite intensive, I can tell you, but we are working on it. So what we are offering as a life science accelerator, I think the most important asset for you as an entrepreneur is the network. So you might say, oh, okay, how does he know? Okay, I myself have been working as a statistical consultant. So when I left the DKFZ, I've been working at the German Cancer Research Center. I was working as a statistical consultant, and I can tell you this was pretty hard. And I wish something like this had been around. I would have immediately joined and asked them at least for advice, because these are the people who are really so knowledgeable. These are people who know how to do clinical trials, like Steffen Lunz. Then we have here founders that are all living in the region. They're all living in the region, Mannheim or Heidelberg. We have VCs, we have professors, we have people super experienced, people from Israel, from GISIM, we have people from insurers. We have really lots of people who can help teams with their expertise, because not every team, especially the pre-seed teams that we are working on, has all the expertise that is necessary. So this, I would say, is, at least in our case, the main asset of what we are doing. How does this work? I get a phone call, for example, last time from because some team has participated in our program. They met another team. They were looking for expertise. They told the people from just try to join the Life Science Accelerator. We were talking and we were connecting this team with Professor Butros, because Professor Butros is one of the people who's super experienced with AI and the identification of cell and cellular health. Something quite interesting, which we maybe can later talk on. This is what we also offer. So if you would even need space, on top you see here the Business Development Center in Heidelberg. And on the bottom, you see the Cubex one. This is still an animation, but the building here is, well, it's built. This is old, and this will be new. It will be exciting. So you see the region has really lots of stuff to offer, not only expertise, but also physical space. And maybe final advice, always good, connect, teach, learn, be a mentor. This is an extremely valuable exercise also concerning your leadership skills, because you have to talk to many people and you have to learn how to navigate people as well. And if you teach something, I can tell you, you will learn a lot as well. If you need any more information, just contact me or my colleague in Heidelberg, Markus Bühler. Here you find all the details that you need. We are on LinkedIn. We are on Twitter. We have a web page. Here's my email. Call me if you like it. Just don't be shy. And I'm looking forward to get in conversation with you. Thank you very much for your attention. Okay, Jubin, now you. Or even better, Barbara.
I'm just wait. Yeah, now it's back. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Bodo, for the quick insight. We can also go through some of these things in the panel discussion again. With that, we go to our next speaker, who's Barbara Stegmann. She is a co-founder of a startup in Heidelberg. It's called Living Brain. It's also an award-winning startup in healthcare, especially from the region. I think most of us know each other. She holds a bachelor's degree in psychology and has gained experience in the field of business due to working in projects with companies like SAP. And she has also gone through multiple accelerator programs. And she has built a small and motivated team of developers and scientists for bringing VR in healthcare to success. So with that, I would invite Barbara to just switch on your video and give a glimpse of what Living Brain is doing and how are you surviving the entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah, hello everyone. Do you see my video already? Does it work? I'm going to share. Can you see my PowerPoint presentation?
Yep. Yes, Barbara,
Perfectly.
it works.
Perfectly. Okay. Yeah, hello everyone. And first, thank you, Jubin, for the opportunity to talk to you. In this special times, it's the first time for me to doing an online presentation, so I'm pretty thrilled. Yeah, and today I'm here to talk about how I came from studying psychology to what I do now, our startup or my startup, Living Brain. Yeah, and I personally come from Hanover, which is about 500 kilometers away from here, and my personal journey started when I was in school, because I was always the one the teachers didn't like best. And before you think something wrong, it was only because I was asking all the time questions like, why do we have to do it this way? Can we do it in a different way? And I could never handle the argument when people said something like, we did it all the time like this, and that's why we are doing it again and again in the same way. Because for me, this argumentation didn't make any sense. So I was questioning everything. And yeah, after school, I decided to study psychology because I was super curious about how people are the way they are and why they react in different ways. And yeah, during my studies, I was confronted with a situation because my co-founder, Julian, he suffered severe epilepsy and he had to go to undergo neurosurgery. And being confronted with that, he was always confronted with possible negative outcomes of this surgery. For example, cognitive decline, which means problems with attention, memory, etc. Normally, today, we are, or in Germany and in most countries all over the world, people who have this cognitive declines are being rehabilitated using paper pencil exercises or using computer programs. And that's an issue because they don't work. And when Julian had to undergo this neurosurgery, his physicians told him, well, if you have cognitive decline afterwards, we only have paper pencil exercises and computer exercises. And we're sorry, we know that they don't work, but there's nothing else we got. And Julian underwent this neurosurgery and he was super lucky and everything went pretty well. So he didn't have any negative consequences and is seizure free. But he told me this story and I was looking at him and asking him why. Like, why don't we change neurorehabilitation? Why do we do it in a non-functional way? It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why I came from studying psychology to trying to solve a problem and then to come to a startup and trying to change things. So just to give you a short idea about what we do at Living Brain, we build exercises in virtual reality where people can train their cognitive abilities in an everyday scenario, for example, making coffee. If they have problems with memorizing what they have to do first and second and third, we are giving them a safe environment to train these exercises or to train these everyday situations, which are so important for every one of us, as you can imagine. Yeah, so right now I'm working at Living Brain and I'm responsible for the whole business stuff, which is kind of a maybe unexpected change of what I did because I studied psychology and of course I did not learn anything about business related things, anything about finance or law. And I'm doing it for 4 years and I personally found some things pretty important that you need to know or that you need to think about when you want to found a business. And I personally would have been very happy if someone told me before. And that's why I want to share today some things about which skills do you need. in my experience. And I personally think the most important thing that you need to realize is that it doesn't matter what you studied. It doesn't matter what you did before, and it doesn't matter which kind of skills, like non-personal skills you have. Because the most important thing about being an entrepreneur is never stop learning and never stop being curious. Because there are a lot of things that I had to learn by myself. For example, doing my first business plan or my first financial plan. And I remember until today, I was doing the first financial plan for a stipend that we wanted to achieve. And I was so confused and overwhelmed by the information, and I didn't have any clue about it. And I like pushed myself through it because that was something that we needed, and I had to learn it for being able to do Living Brain. And Living Brain was my dream. So I had to stay persistent, and I had to stay curious about things. So what I think is super important is being persistent. Don't stop what you're doing. Definitely have passion for what you do, love what you do. If you're not passionate, you're not gonna make it, because it's hard. Like building a company or a startup is hard stuff, especially in the life science area, in the medical area. I mean, I guess most of you know about the complications that can appear. And then especially, like I said, when I say be persistent, don't give up. There will be a lot of situations where you will struggle, and there will be a lot of situations where you are unsure what to do. But you shouldn't give up, because that's something that happens to all of us in life. And that also comes with having a startup. And what I personally learned looking at my environment is another skill, or more kind of an attitude. Try not to compare yourself to others. That's, I think, for me, that's one of the most important things, because I know that there's a special picture of the entrepreneur, whatever that means, who does this things in a certain way, who works for 20 hours, who, I don't know, sleeps 8 hours and then always eats healthy or whatsoever. Do not compare yourself to that, because if you're always trying to make things in a way that other people expect you to, you're not going to find your own way. And that's what I think the most important thing, that you find your own way, how to manage through the complications, how to manage the good times and the hard times, and to find a good way with yourself doing these things. So don't let media fool you. Be honest with yourself about what you can and what you cannot do. Give your best to learn things about that, and keep calm, really keep calm, because that's the only chance you have. In the end, it's all about trying to stay cool. Yeah, and I just summed them up for you guys, so it in the end makes sense to you. And of course, like Bodo also said and already said, network is super important. So I just listed up some of the very important partners for us, which is, like Bodo said, one of the most important things you need to have is a network, and people who can give you feedback, who can give you thoughts, share their experiences. And for that, I can absolutely tell you, go to the people from the Lifescience Accelerator, ask people from 5HT in Mannheim and Ludwigshafen, ask people from the Technology Park in Heidelberg. Merck, for example, when it comes to life sciences, has an accelerator where you can apply for it. So just connect with different partners, connect with people, and let them share their experiences, because you don't have to make every mistake that someone else made before. You can learn from others, and I think that's a really important, really important thing about it. And to sum the whole thing up, I personally think it doesn't matter what you studied, and it doesn't matter who you are right now. It's all about who you want to be and what you're able and willing to do for that. So yeah, that's just a short summary of my experiences concerning that. Thank you for your attention. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to share experiences and thoughts, and yeah, challenge maybe your ideas whatsoever. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Barbara, for sharing in such a short time span about your journey and how you have moved across. So maybe I also request Bodo and Jagdish to put on their videos and also unmute them.
Yeah, should work.
Yeah, so how the next part we plan is we'll have a quick discussion. So I would just go through some of the key questions which I think many of us have in our minds. And if anyone from the participants, they have questions, they can also send in to Taraka, and we'll just go through them also in the next round. Yeah, and we have around 20 minutes. So just to start with the discussion, I think all of you mentioned about work. Maybe Barbara, if we can start from you, then Bodo and Jagdish.
Of course. Yeah. Being honest, the network was in our case the most important thing, because when we started Living Brain, we were both students, and we had to ask people like, how do we start this? What are the first steps and the second steps? So I personally think that the experiences of a good network and the support you can receive is one of the most important things. I mean, Bodo, we know each other for kind of a long time, and he also supported Living Brain a lot, which I'm pretty thankful for. So I think we didn't achieve a lot of things without a network. It's all about feedback and asking people for their experiences.
Bodo, what would be your take on that?
First, thank you, Barbara. Very generous. And you know, you are the heroes. We are just the, how do you say, the moderators, the people who try to make the connections. And I totally agree with Barbara. So networks are important. How do you get to networks? Okay, when I was a postdoc, you know, I was a scientist, and my business network was almost nil. So what I did do was I went to the Bio-RM Lounge. This is something I can highly recommend. If you are the Heidelberg Mannheim region, go to the Bio-RM Lounge, because there you meet people from academia and industry, and they mix. And it's a very nice networking opportunity, really. So it's totally open. You don't need to be a hero to be there. You just need to be interested either in academia or in industry, in the best case in both, because this is what's all about. And then you go there. And networks is everything, because we have to learn so much. If you come, you know, you have many teams from universities, and these teams are technically superb, but they lack the business expertise, which is totally normal, because normally there is no such courses. There might be some, like the Biotech Entrepreneurship training program, but it's not mandatory. So you find actually we are lucky, because you find the right people, Jubin, Jaga, and they all joined the program, and look at them. So I'm really quite happy about it. So this is the kind of people you want to attract. And I think network, yes, try to get into the network, try to get, you know, the ecosystem. How do these people work? How do they function? There I met Christian Didona. Christian Didona later became my boss, actually, at Bio-RN. So I can tell you, this is, yeah, you need to be somehow prepared. And go there, don't be shy. Nobody will be blaming you if it doesn't work out for whatever reason. Just be curious. As Barbara said, curious and learning. That's all it needs.
Jagdish, maybe your view on that?
I mean, I totally agree with Bodo and Barbara. And Bodo, thanks for pointing out the BETP lectures. I still remember the monster VC picture that you put out. So, I mean, coming back to the networking, Zubin, I think nowadays it's all about network. I mean, there is this saying, right? Network is your net worth. So it's not only about startups, entrepreneurship, it's also about the jobs. And So the people who have bigger networks, that's how they get jobs. I mean, look at me, I got in EIT Health. I'm not a European citizen, but I entered into that only because of the network. I mean, we can take a big lecture about network. It may take 1 hour, but only few tips that I would like to give to everyone now is that most of them are PhDs and postdocs, if I believe. So just think about, with the knowledge, what you can give back to society. You can train master students or bachelor students, and that's how you can start building network. So look at what things you have, whom you can impact, and slowly you will increase your circle of influence, and you will meet a lot of people, and that's how you can get grants or you can get jobs. So it's all about networks. I mean, it's a big topic, but 100% agree.
Yeah. So Barbara, you already covered the point of the skills part in your slides. Maybe Jagdish and Bodo, you can also mention, what do you think from your point of view, do you see the relevant skills, especially who are getting into entrepreneurship, which would be handy for them? Maybe Jagdish, if you can go first, and Bodo, if you can go next.
So I'm kind of tailoring everything with the PhDs and postdocs in mind, Zubin, because the network what we are addressing is the same people. So I mean, it's the skill sets what we already have are the meticulous hard work. So we dig into details, but the only thing is the PhDs and postdocs, they focus only on narrow topic and they don't think into translation. So if they can adopt this entrepreneurial mindset, being open and building network, and some kind of critical and creative thinking. So I think these are the very important skills. You already have it as a PhD and postdoc. Only thing is you need to translate into it. Translate that. It's just that word, you can have it in your brain. Even the little topic that you are working in your topic, in your area of expertise, just think how can you translate it. Once you think on it, you'll automatically identify the game. I think that's a important skill. Translation skill is very important, yeah.
And Bodo, what do you think on that?
Well, as I said, here I agree. Well, if you come from a university, everything you need. So intellectually, yes, for sure. And then it's just, okay, I the good fortune to work in a lab that has been very translationally oriented. So we were working with companies like Bayersdorf, like Bayer, like Roche. So I knew what it means to work translationally. But this was not about business. This was about the way these people work. So with milestones and roadmaps. So this was totally fine with me. And this is something, the sooner you get in contact with this kind of thinking and vocabulary, the easier for you it gets to navigate those terms as well and to communicate with these people. You get to know the language of these people as well. So if you are talking to a VC, this is something totally different than talking to a doctor. So you need, this is like you are talking to someone and you target your speech and your language to this segment of your customers. So in this you have to learn. You cannot talk like, scientists always talk like scientists and nobody understands them. And sometimes it can go wrong, as we learned recently. And but this is something, okay, you expose yourself and people might not like it, but especially if you're an entrepreneur, you just don't care. And well, you care, you're on your route. But as I said, different target groups need different language and different communication, and you need to learn this. But as I said, you are bright enough, you can do this.
So because everything right now focuses on COVID-19, maybe a question on that. So, I mean, there's a lot of negative news, or we always hear the negative part of it, but from the entrepreneur's point of view or the ecosystem point of view, where do you see some moments or opportunities, or I would say the rainbow moment of COVID-19? Maybe Barbara, if you can go first on that.
I personally think that is, in general, a hard to answer question, because I think it really depends on the kind of startup you're currently looking at. I mean, I personally have a kind of general look on startups, so different topics come to my mind. I think the rainbow moment is already near for the digital health startups. I personally think so, because all that comes about digitalization is now something that will really speed up. Maybe not right now because people are kind of cautious about things and insecure, but I'm absolutely sure that this COVID-19 thing will show the importance of digital solutions in nearly every field. So I think for having a moment, like a rainbow moment, it depends on which field you are focusing on. I think it's a rainbow moment for digital startups, for healthcare startups. It's a good moment for all people who are connecting someone. And of course, for the entertainment industry, let's be honest, Netflix, we all know it. So I think in general, hard question, depending on like always, depending on the pains the startups are covering or the needs they are filling. So yeah.
Jagdish and Bodo, from your side.
Bodo, go ahead. I'll follow up with you.
Okay, hey then. As always, I agree with Barbara. So she's totally right. Telehealth is rocking the show currently. Dr. Lip in France is showing it quite convincingly, for example, as everything disinfection related. I can tell you I was 2 weeks ago in Jerusalem, well, online, and there was a startup. They selling machines to disinfect your hands. And I can tell you, they are selling it like crazy. And it's less water, you need less water, it's very efficient cleaning your hands. Wow, that's the stuff that's rocking currently. Everything with tourism, even if it's Airbnb, no. Everything that's related to tourism, airlines, no. So you see, it's actually quite easy if you think about it. Hardware startups are suffering more than software startups, as always, actually. But hardware, you need supply chains. Supply chains are affected by COVID. So this is the kind, it's actually, you just need to think about it from a lot perspective, immediately who will be going to be affected and who will not be going to affect. And by the way, the VCs will also be affected, most likely, because we'll know that LPs, so their investors, will provide money for future funds. Maybe not in the next 6 months, maybe not in the next 12 months. So the VCs who have collected money at the beginning of the year. So like Atomico. Atomico got, I don't know, an 800 million fund. This is quite nice for Atomico, and every other VC, okay, has to look. VCs, have also investors, and we have to wait how it does work out. Yaga.
Bodo, if you say you were in Jerusalem 2 weeks back, I'm in India every day because I call my wife every day. Well, I'm totally with both of you, and especially with Barbara's points, digital application and digital health, especially, and we see with telemedicine and teleconsulting and all these things, and also in the mental health. So there are many apps that are coming in. So there's huge investments that are rolling in there. But apart from that, especially in the manufacturing sector, somewhere, I see that at least 1 year, there won't be any investments. In the EIT Health, we took something called Startup Rescue Instrument. So where EIT Health want to inject 1,000 euros into each startup, whoever comes with the 250,000 euros from their investment perspective. And because, the investors will not change their portfolio. They are not expanding more. I think anything to do with the digital is the game for at least 1 or 2 years. Once things get stabilized and when there is mobility between different countries again, everything will boom back. But right now, everything is digital. And also something with the medical care, like PPE instruments or ventilators. So if people who are producing that, they have a big game to play.
So we'll also take a couple of questions from the participants. Barbara, there's one very specific question for you. It says that it's from Gautam, I think, in Munich. And he is asking that, how did you know at such a young age that you want to do this startup or you want to do what you're doing?
Well, to be honest, I never thought about, oh, I'm too young. I'm not sure if I should do it. Like, I never thought about it, to be honest. I mean, I have been asked this question for a few times, and it's always like, I always have the same feeling for it. Like, I never thought about maybe being too young, because I don't think that it depends on my age. I don't think that it depends on, as I said, I don't think that it depends on what I studied. I think it all comes with my belief in changing things, because I just can't accept things I don't understand, or things that I think can be different or made differently. So I mean, I was, for like being honest, most of the time I pretty well know what I want and what I don't want. But I think that's kind of a personal thing. But yeah, I mean, I was just curious, and that was a topic that really got me. And I was just thinking about, if I do it now, maybe I will never do it. So I just didn't really think about it and just did it. I mean, maybe that's a stupid answer, but that's all I can say about it.
Great. Jagdish, there's also a specific question for you. The question is that, how easy or difficult do you think it's to start a startup in Europe, or in your native place, or anywhere else, let's say, for example?
I mean, I don't have much experience with India or US, but I will go with the gut feeling. So the starting is easy. So you can some basic grants, and what next? So you need to have bigger investments, especially when you are playing a biotech game. Maybe Bodo knows. Bodo can point it out all. So look at seed B round investments or something, because startup is not a little thing. It expands. You need to look also into scale. So in that case, US has very big. US and China, they're playing very big game, and Europe also slowly starting to enter the game. But just a startup, I mean, everywhere things are opening up. Look at India, BIRA grants and Invest India. They're all, somehow things are opening up. So don't worry about anywhere on the planet, just start it.
So there's another question on the role of the university professors. Bodo, maybe can you also give some insights about what role university professors or mentors they play in the journey of startups?
Well, as I said, it really depends. Okay, there are some universities that claim, oh, hey, we are a research university, we only do research. And well, I'm not comfortable with this view. And it really depends also on the PI that you are working for. I was lucky, I already told you, I was working Professor Lyko's lab, and he has an affinity to business, which is a quite good experience, and others do not. So if you are interested in doing something like business, you should look for a professor who you know is working well or has a relationship with business. So you have to do your homework, as always. So this is how you choose your professors. So you are young, you are looking, hey, what are you good at? In my case, it was epigenetics. So I was looking, who are the epigenetics professors? Okay, I have to admit, I knew Frank Lyko, because we have been before working in the same lab, actually working on a different part of epigenetics. So this is how you do it yourself. So have a look, who is working on what, and it really depends. There's some very strong universities, everyone knows them, like the Technical University of Munich, like the EIT Aachen. These are technical universities with lots of engineers, but then there's also LMU. And LMU, so Ludwig Maximilian University in Mannheim in Munich, and even Heidelberg. So even Heidelberg, you can do business. So they have their spin-outs. Even the German Cancer Research Center, if you're working on microscopy, you exactly know where to go in Germany, or at least if you're in the southern part of Germany, you go to the EMBL. Because these are the guys who are developing top-notch microscope that match everything that is done in Stanford or anywhere else. So these are really, you have to know what you want to do, as what you want to work on. And yeah, there are many opportunities, not only in Germany, everywhere. I can tell you everywhere. Spain has very nice, France has very nice. also about Boston. But we are in Europe or India. And in India, I don't have any experience, I have to admit. I know very nice people from India, hey, but I've never been to India myself. So this is something maybe that I should put on my list as soon as we are allowed to travel again.
I think I will just answer one thing, Zubin. This is mostly about the mentorship with the PI, right? So it is a bit difficult because not all the PIs have this business acumen. They are mostly academics. So as a part of what you want to do is that you need to find people with the like mindset, especially your peers. It could be just friends. Open up with them, share your ideas, and you will slowly get new mentors. So don't expect your PI to be full mentor because they have their own vision, they have their own agenda, and they became professors to do something, not to push your business.
Okay, sounds great. Sorry, guys, I'm still getting a lot of questions, but I cannot take further because we are up for the time, and I still want to maintain the German Standard Time for being delayed. So with this, I would also like to thank all of you, Barbara, Bodo, Jagdish, for giving this insights. As all of you know that there are closed sessions with all of us, and you can raise your further questions with each of us on different aspects. And if you haven't registered, you can also connect with any of us in future. I think most of us would be happy to answer whatever doubts you have. With that, I would also like to thank all the partners who have supported the conference, whether it's SciTech, Illustrate, also our student association, HISA, Eurofins, Peprotech, Genomics, BioRN. So for everyone, we will be having the closed session for next, I would say 30 minutes. And the following session on the skill sets would start at 15:30 the European time. And then we go ahead with the following session. So I think whoever has registered has a Zoom link for the closed session. And those of you who would still like to continue the discussion here, I think there are a couple of members, I think Tarak and Mayur, they are part of this session still now. And you can raise further questions or have a common discussion. So with that, thanks a lot, guys. And thanks a lot to everyone. Stay safe and take care.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Hi everyone. We'll quickly at 3:25 we'll quickly reset and then use the same link to get into the meeting again. We have fixed the issue with 500 participants, so everyone should be able to allow. So the link will be restarted in 2 minutes, and then you can use the same link to get into the meeting again.